All right, we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Sean, and today we're just going to be going over the advanced pricing calculator and the mockup creator, along with some of the mockups as well. So, if you're using a previous version of the design wizard, anything under the 4.0, these are new features with the 4.0, so they won't be included. Anything below, so that's why you won't have the creator or the advanced pricing calculator. So still a good webinar to look at, see what you can do. Just to see what we're working with, has anyone worked with the mockup creator or used the advanced pricing calculator yet? All right, so okay, good. So not a lot of people have used this, it looks like, so this is good. This is going to be a pretty basic webinar, so if you guys need to see anything again, if I go too fast, just let me know. You can ask questions, and as they come in, I'll answer those as well. So the first thing we're going to go ahead and start is with the mockup creator. So I have a few shirts pulled in, so I'll go ahead and let me just delete this one right now. And the first one we're working with is just a basic Gildan white tee. You can see the tag right there. So a lot of these images, if you're working with the customer, they have their own shirt or they want to have a certain type of shirt displayed with the mockup. This is where the mockup creator will come in handy. A lot of these files, if you have accounts with Bodek and Rhodes or Sanmar, those t-shirt companies, you can download these PDFs or JPEGs from their site. So not all of them are available, but a lot of them are. So this is where we're actually going to find these type of files. Or you can just, if you find an image somewhere else, you can use that as well. The good thing about getting them from the websites is they're usually pretty good quality. Sometimes if you just take them from Google or something like that, it might not be as a clear image. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. Right now we just have, like I said, our basic white tee. Now, there's a few options in the mockup creator. At first, you'll see the brightness, contrast, shadow, and midtones. To start out with, you might not want to jump into these right away, and I'll show you how to use them briefly. Um, and I'll make two copies of this same shirt just so we can kind of see what these will advantage these kind of brightness, contrast, shadow, and midtones buttons will do for us. Underneath that, we have the auto boundary tracer and the manual boundary tracer. So with these shirts, we have this auto boundary tracer now. So if the shirt is very clear, we can just go ahead and click this create auto boundary. And you'll see it puts this line around our entire shirt. So essentially it just does an outline of the shirt. And what this is a B-spline. So if you're familiar with the B-spline tool, great tracing tool, we actually put the B-spline tool right on this mockup creator as well. So a lot of shirts that you might use might not give you this exact look. So let me actually bring one in real quick so we can see the example I'm talking about. So right here we just have a white and gray tank top. Now if I try to do the create auto boundary, it doesn't always pull the shirt perfect. So this is actually what it gave us. So if you get something like that rather than this perfect trace we got with the Gildan, that's when we can add some darkness or maybe some contrast, and you'll have to play around with this a little bit. There's no, hit darker twice here, here, and here, and you'll get a good looking outline. It's going to be different for every shirt. So you'll just kind of have to play around with the darkness and contrast. You'll see this kind of blue teal box come around. Now that's okay. Once we actually trace this, it's going to go away. But for now, you'll see that blue box. So just by adding a couple, let's see it create auto boundary. So definitely a lot better of a trace. In some areas it might be off, but for the most part, you'll see now it's a pretty good trace of that t-shirt. So if you run into areas where you're not getting a really good trace with the auto boundary, then you can start adding these brightness, contrast, and shadow to help grab that outline of your shirt. Now, there are going to be some instances where you're just not going to get a good trace with the auto boundary. So that's where the manual boundary tracer comes in. And with that, we just put the B-spline on there right here. So all you would have to do is hit B-spline and then go around your shirt and just trace it manually. So all the tools are going to still be in this little docker for you. But if you're not able to use the auto boundary tracer, you'll just have to manually trace it. And it will take a minute or so. The more you use this tool, the quicker you'll be at it. So you can trace this in 30 seconds to a minute. So it's not still a lot of time, but the auto tracer will definitely save you a little time. Right? So I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Now, you can also use these brightness, contrast, and shadows and mid-tone to kind of add a little bit more detail to your shirt. So this one on the left, we didn't add anything. On this one on the right, I'm just going to make it a little bit darker. Just something like that. Maybe a little contrast. Nothing crazy. And then I'll still do the create auto boundary. And it's still going to give me a really good trace. It's only going to help it usually if we add a little darkness or contrast. Now, what I want to show you is if I zoom into these shirts, the trace is actually a little bit on the inside. Now, that's what we're looking for because we don't want, if the trace is to the outside, you'll start picking up some of those white areas around the shirt, and then that can cause it to show up in your mockups and it just doesn't look professional. So you will see that this auto trace brings it in, and it's set right now at 0.02. So if I did the same shirt and I set this to 0.08, we'll just go a little bit higher. Now you'll see it really come in off the shirt. So that will just help not show this white background when you're making these mock-ups. So I would recommend keeping it at 0.02. Definitely go around your design to make sure that it's still in the armpits and stuff. It might get a little close, so you want to check those areas. But for the most part, 0.02 works fine. All right. So any questions leading up to this point? Do I need to show anything again? All right, keep moving. So now we can create these cutout color changing mockups. So to make these color changing mockups, there's a couple rules to start out with. One is you have to start out with a white shirt or product, white hat, anything we're trying to make a color changing mockup has to start out with being white. If it isn't, it's gonna, when you change the different colors, it's not gonna bring it in correctly, and I'll show you an example of what it's gonna look like. It just doesn't work correctly. So if you want to make it a color changing, you have to start it as a white shirt, hence the white Gildan t-shirt. Right? So pretty easy. Once we create that auto boundary, we just highlight our image. So we're going to not only highlight our boundary that we created, we have to grab the image too. So sometimes that background might be a little bit bigger. So make sure we're selecting the entire background and the new trace. So I just usually highlight over everything, guaranteeing that I select it all. Really easy. Once we have it selected, all we have to do is hit cut out color change mockup. So once we do that, it's going to just you'll see the loading bar down here, and then it's going to open up a new page for us. So our original is still on page 1, excuse me. And our mockup that we just created is now on page 2. So from here, this is a color changing mockup. So now I can change this to whatever color I want. So just like that, we were able to create our own Gildan mockup. All right, so that was our first one on the left. Now I'm going to do the same thing with our one that we add a little bit of brightness and contrast to. All right, so just cut out, and because it puts this blue box around it, doesn't mean that it's not a white t-shirt anymore. So we can still use this as a color changing mockup. So every mockup we create, it's going to make a new tab down here for us. So now you'll see the new mockup. All right. So both look really good. This one comes out a little bit more gray because we added that darkness to it. So that's okay. Now I'm going to put these side by side, and you guys let me know which one you like better. Let's change it a couple different ways so we can kind of see with the same color. Now, by adding a little darkness and contrast to it, it almost makes it look like a more realistic shirt. This one on the right or the left, still a good looking t-shirt, but the one on the right kind of stands out like it's an actual picture of a t-shirt. You'll see the wrinkles a little bit more, and it just has more depth to it. So that's how the brightness and contrast can help with these designs as well. If you like the way the left looks, perfect. You don't have to edit it all. If you want to add a little bit more to your mockups, then you can try to add a little bit of darkness and contrast to your design or to your shirts or products, whatever we're using. So can everyone kind of see the difference here? Awesome. All right, so one extra little trick we can do with this design is with the shirts, maybe we order Gildan a lot, we know how they look. Even though the shirt's teal, usually the tag's still white. So with that, we can actually go back to our main page. I'm going to trace this myself, so I'm going to grab the manual tracer. We have the B-spline right here now. So on the Corel Docker, you'll see the B-spline right here. So it's the same tool, we just make it just so it's all on the same page. You can just click it, and just like that, we're using the B-spline now. So I'm just going to B-spline the edge of this tag, just real quick. It doesn't have to be perfect, just something like that, just a little square. Now let me get rid of this outline so I'm not grabbing that. Now I'm going to select that square I just made, hold shift, and select my t-shirt. So now I have those two objects selected, and then I'm going to come up here and do intersect. So just like that, I'll pull my square over, and now right where my square was, I have a tag. So now I can just bring this over. I'll just copy this, bring it to my mockups, place that right where the Gildan was, and I'll do it for both of them. And then I'm just going to group these together. Alright, so now when I go to change these t-shirts, the tag stays white, but the t-shirt will change colors, just making it look a little bit more realistic. Alright, so these mockups are going to, there's really a lot what you can do with them, and hopefully they're going to help sell your product as well. So this is just a small, taste of what we can do with these mock-up creators. Now, if you don't have a t-shirt that is white, maybe you have a client that, hey, these are our uniforms, we have to use these. Can you show me what the design is going to look like on our t-shirt? So now that's no problem. All you have to do is find that t-shirt, whether it be on Bodex, Sanmar, or if you can just take a picture of theirs. Either way, we can use that t-shirt. So for our next example, let me just go ahead and open up a new tab. And let me bring this in real quick. All right, so this one, we just have a basic blue Under Armour shirt, color T. They just want their logo right here on the patch, across from the Under Armour, maybe just their name, maybe their logo, doesn't matter. Since we have this shirt, and you can see, again, grabbing them from the actual sites, they're going to come in a little bit clearer like this. So I definitely recommend trying to find it from one of those sites first. If not, then I would turn to like Google or something like that. So same process, we're going to give a shot with the auto boundary. Again, you're not going to know if this is going to work until you hit it. It's going to be different for every shirt. It depends on the shadowing on the shirt and just how it's going to pick it up. So create auto boundary. All right, that looks pretty good. Um, Sometimes it might be a little bit hard to see because it's on this blue. So if you right click a color, any color, it will show as that color. So it might still be a little bit thin, hard to see, but for the most part, we can tell that it did a good job tracing. It's not showing any of that white. So we're pretty good. And you know, something like this, how we're down here and it's really close to that kind of white edge, well, fine. We don't have to worry about that. We don't have to second guess it. If it doesn't look good, just make this a little bit bigger. So 0.03, create auto boundary. And now when I come back here, it's not even close. So instead of you trying to manually fix that or waste time looking at it, just come back up, add a little, go to the next one. We went from 2 to 3, and now we don't have any problems down here. Right? And the rest of the shirt still looks good. You don't want to go too far and cut off, you know, maybe the collar or something like that, but in this case, everything still looks good. So we'll go ahead and use it like that. So because this isn't a white shirt, we cannot use the cutout color change mockup. So real simple, we'll just highlight the same process. Once we create this island, we just highlight the entire design. So we want to make sure, you see how that box goes around, even though my shirt ends here, the box is up here. That's because that's where the actual box of the image is. So we want to make sure we grab everything. And then from there, instead of hitting this button, we're just going to hit Cutout Image Mockup. Just like that, now we have our image mockup. So this is what I was telling you about earlier. If we decide we want to use this shirt, actually let me go back, because if we grab it here, I don't think we can change it at all. Yeah, so if you hit Cutout Image Mockup, you can't change it at all. So let me show you what this shirt looks like as a color changing mockup. So when I hit that button, it should work the same, but then it's going to be grayed out. So it's this dark gray, and now when I go to change the colors, it's going to have that really dark tone to it. So if you're working with a black, or sorry, a gray or something like that, sometimes, you know, this looks like a perfect charcoal Under Armour shirt. You'll get away with a few colors like that, maybe a darker or something like that. But once you get into these light colors, it's going to have a different tint to it, and it's just not going to look great, and it's probably not going to match the colors the shirts actually come in. All right. So that's how why we can't use these. You can't start with the color and make it a color changing mockup. So we'll go back. So this is our image. It's a mockup now. So now we want to use these designs in we want to add them to our mockup tab. So when we come here and we go to quick product, and we come product type, custom, then we'll start to see our custom shirt. So Gildan's men's white tee. This is from previous. So I haven't actually uploaded this yet. So you'll see that there, but it has even an image of the shirt and what it looks like. So you'll be able to take these shirts and add them to your catalog to use in your mockups. So that's what we're going to go over next. So we'll go over both of them. It's going to be the same process with either a color changing or just a mockup. It doesn't matter. It's all going to be the same process. So let's go ahead. I'm going to delete these other images out. And I went ahead and used the image that had a little bit more detail to it. So again, you don't have, whatever you think looks better, whatever your customer likes, go with that. And it doesn't matter how we save it, what color. If you want to save it in a white, you can. If you want to save it in orange, it doesn't matter at this point. So once we have our shirt created, now we have to have our design placement. So underneath our color change mockup, you'll see add to custom products. So that's how we're going to add this to our custom products for our mockups. All right, so you see custom here, so you know that's how we're going to add it. So this is just the front and back. So if we had two versions, you could save it each way. For the front, let's just say our design for the shirt we want at 9.5. And we'll create, actually let's do 7.5. And again, you can change this once you create it. So you'll hit create design placement, and you'll see this red box pop up on our shirt. So once this box pops up, we're just placing this wherever we want on the shirt, wherever we want our design to show up. That's where we can place this box. So if we need to shrink it in, or if we need to make the shirt a little bit larger, either way, you can do it. So we can stretch the box or the shirt to make it fit better, whatever you find easier. So then once we have that, you'll see front and back again. We want to save this as the front of the shirt. So I already have a few options in here. You have 12 custom options. If you go higher than that, but let's just say, this Sport Tech pullover, I don't actually use that anymore. That was for, a one-time deal. I don't need that mock-up. Well, then all I have to do is click this option, rename it. So this one will do orange Gildan tee, just so it's different from the white, just so we know it added correctly. Otherwise, I'd probably save it as a white Gildan tee. Or just we can save it as basic Gildan CC. And the CC, you don't have to use that. That's just for me to know that it's color changing. So when I go to make these mock-ups, I'm not wasting time picking a shirt that, oh, this is actually just comes in black. Now, when I add the CC, for me, that's a mental note that says color changing. So again, you can name these whatever you want. This is just for your purposes. So we're going to highlight our design and save custom product. So you'll see it kind of flash through like that. And now let's go to our mockups. So sometimes you might, I have an older version, you might have to close out to try to get that fixed on the new bug or with the new upgrade. So under template type, now we go to quick product, custom, basic Gildan CC. So it's going to wipe out that Sports Tech and give me my Gildan CC. And then you see that orange shirt right there just to match that like that. So really easy process and just adds to your, being able to show your customers exactly what their shirt or design is going to look like. You don't have to go out and buy the shirt, waste your material, press it, and then show them that way. This way it just generates everything for you and makes it really simple. All right, so does anyone have any questions, or do you need me to kind of go over? I know there's a lot right there. Anything about the Mockup creator, adding it to our Mockup tab, anything like that, naming it? All right, I think everyone's good. All right, so same with, let me go here real quick. Let's just say we have this Under Armour shirt. Let's delete our page one. Now with this one, it's a little bit different. Obviously, we're not going to have our design placement. If we did 7.5 with this, it's going to take up our whole shirt. Even if the shirt was larger, it's a collar tee. So if we put it this low, it's going to look really awkward. So with this one, if they just wanted, a chest there, we can shrink that down. And then that way, anytime we send a design, once I save this, I can go, let's just save it under custom 5. We'll do Under Armour blue polo. Save custom product. You'll see it kind of flash like that. And now when I go to my mockups, quick product, product type, custom, you'll see Under Armour blue polo with the little image there. And now it will generate all of our mockups right to that spot rather than just across the t-shirt. Okay. So you can line up this red box wherever you wanted. If you had like a sleeve, just to kind of show you some of the other things you can customize. We're not going to do this all today, but with sports fans, you have sleeves like this. Baseball, soccer, football, all these sleeves now, you can add vinyl to those, so you can customize these, show mock-ups with those. So there's a lot you can really pull in any type of mock-up if you want a wall, a mug, any type of t-shirt, any apparel, anything you're really putting designs on, you could take a picture of it and make your own mock-up now. All right, so before we jump into the advanced pricing calculator, does anyone need to see any of the mock-ups, mock-up creator or mock-up again? Yeah, with these, there's a little bit of a learning. It's pretty easy. It's really easy. The biggest thing we're gonna have to learn is just, what brightness, what contrast, what shadow to add, if you even need to. And then from there, you can pretty much manually trace it. So how do I get the design in there? So let me see if I have a design that I can open up real quick. Let's see, something like this. So let's remove that background. So it's the same process of adding a design. Um, you would just go to your mockup. Let's do a quick product custom. Let's do the basic Gildan color changing. You'll save product, go to your design, save design, and create mockup. And then it just puts it right there for you. So if you guys haven't actually used the mockups yet, I can go over that real quick. Does anyone need to see how you actually use these mockups? It's a little bit it's a little bit new for the, sorry. It's a little bit of a learning process with these too, if you haven't done it yet. So I can run through that real quick if we need to. Okay, all right, no problem. So once you add your designs, and we already have a lot of mockups in here for you. So if you guys go to any quick product or shirt, you can see what type of products we already have in here. So you'll drop down and say product, and then you'll see women's, men's, youth, and accessories. So there's a lot of preloaded. Once we go to women's, you'll see preloaded shirts, just basic, burnout, dry fit, long sleeve. It's not gonna actually, none of them will have real logos like the ones we made. You could obviously see was a Gildan. You could definitely tell it was an Under Armour. These ones are just basic. The burnout is a particular style, so most of those would be, that one style. But otherwise, it's just a pretty basic long sleeve, just scoop neck, so on. So with the men's, not as many options, just a t-shirt, long sleeve, hooded. And then youth, we have some babies, onesies, and boys and girls youth. And then accessories, we have drawstring, headbands, car decals, a few extra ones in there. So we do have a lot preloaded here for you guys. Now, oops, let me reopen that real quick. So with the mockups, let's just start from the beginning. I would pretty much leave it in, you can do advanced, it doesn't really matter. It's going to give you a little bit more options, such as changing your color background and stuff like that. So you can do that all on the next page. So for now, I would just leave it in basic. So from there, we have to pick our template type. Now there's a lot of different pre-made templates for you. So if you're showing someone 4 t-shirts, we have a mock-up for that. If you're showing someone 1 t-shirt front and back, we have a mock-up for that. If you just want to show them a quick product, just something that on the t-shirt, just something really simple, we have one for that. If you just want to show them the design, not actually on, we have stuff for that too. So you can kind of go through here and see all those different mock-ups we have. So let's just do we'll do one shirt. We'll do mock-up single product like this. This way it shows the design and the shirt. Now, and this is going to repeat itself. So if you have a template like this, let me go up here. If you have a 2-shirt template, you're pretty much going to do the 1 shirt first, like we're about to, and then you're just going to repeat this process for the 2nd shirt. So don't get too, don't overthink it. If you go to 4 shirts, it's just the same process 4 times. All right. So proof 1, or what are we doing? Mock-up single. Yeah. So when that drops down, you'll see product and design. We're going to run through this one bar at a time. So it's going to automatically generate product. Once we select any of these options, it will give us product first. So just go ahead and leave that as product and move down to the next one, which is product type. So we can choose whatever we want. If we want to use our custom one that we just made, fine. If we want to use a preloaded one, doesn't matter. So with this, let's just go ahead and do our basic Gildan color changing. And then it's going to give us the front option. So if we want this on the front of the shirt, we would leave it as front. If we wanted this to go on the back, we would obviously just hit back. We don't have a back option for this shirt. Just because we made a front doesn't mean somehow it'll generate a back on its own. You'll manually have to add a back if it's a custom. The ones we already have loaded will have a back and a front. But if you add your own, you will only have what you add. So on the creator, you'll see front and back. So you'll have to add both of those. Right? So once we get here, we have all this filled out. We have product, custom. Product is our basic Gildan color changing shirt. Product options is front of the t-shirt. Hit save product. Now we're going to come back to our template detail steps. Drop that down and hit design. Every other option will be grayed out from this point. So we're going to highlight the design and hit save design. And then all we're hitting is create mockup. I have logo checked. I don't actually have a logo in here, and that's another. We have some mockup videos as well. So if you want to see how to add your name and logo, you can watch those as well. And that will show you how to add your own logo and all your information. So just like that, it's going to generate our design and put it on our mockup, and pretty much has our information if we were to upload it. So don't get, so the basic and advanced, one of the excuse me, differences, if I come to these detail steps, it will say product background color, product description, design background color. So when you see these gray boxes right here, if you go to advanced, you'll have the option to pick those colors beforehand. If not, which I think is kind of easier anyways, I leave it on basic, and then once you get to the screen, I can click anything on here and change the color. So even if I wanted late cruiser, we want this to be blue on a white background, boom, we can change that. Shirt, they actually want a blue and they want kind of like a white and green instead. Easy. We can change that all on this mockup once we're here. So on this mockup, it's going to tell them the size of the design. So that's going to be generated from when we save that design. And then you'll see enter your description here. And then, so this little white area is actually our description. So if you wanted to add that, you could add that before. But again, I just like adding everything once you're here, except this part here, web, email, phone. So a lot of our mockups, and I'm just going to pick one real quick just to kind of show you. Yeah, we'll do this one, create mockup. So if you get these red squares like this, excuse me, this means you did something wrong. Usually just either you didn't save the product or you didn't save the design correctly, but it will give you these kind of red squares. Now, on this one, you'll see business name, street, city, phone number, email, web. All those areas you can automatically populate with all your information. So underneath the mockup, underneath saved product, you'll see description. So if I hit this little pen next to it, it's going to pop up with our description. So with my description, I could name this TRW. So that's my business name. That's what I'm going to call this description. Next, you can see the watermark text. So if I want to add a watermark text, I could do the rhinestoneworld.com. Figure out my transparency. That looks good. Maybe it's usually a number 1 through 100. So you can play around with that. I want to add my logo. I take my image, I just find it wherever I saved it on my computer, and then I can add my logo. my business name, my website, my phone, email, my street address, my city, state, and zip. Once I type that all in, I hit add. It's going to make you fill in all this or it won't do it. And then you hit save. If you don't add and save, this won't go through, and then you're going to have to retype everything out, find your logo again, and it's just annoying. So make sure you add and save before you click out of this screen. And then once you hit this now, when we go to mockups and you click logo, simulate stones, and watermark, well, you don't have to do simulate stones unless you're working with rhinestones, but it will generate all your information for you and put it where it says business name, street, city. All this area will be automatically populated with your business's information. And again, everything on this page, even the price of the t-shirt, I can change. So it's a $45 t-shirt now. Anything on here can be changed. Custom, basic, gilded, color changing. Yeah, it's going to take that name in, but I don't want them to know what that name is. They don't need to know. I just want that out. You can delete it out. So again, all these can be edited for your personal preference, whatever you think looks better for your mockups. And any of these colors, even the gray backgrounds and stuff like that. If you have business, if maybe your colors are green and blue, well, now we can change those to match your store colors. Anything like that. All right. So did that help with a little bit more of the mockups? Does anyone need to see any of the actual creating the mockups again? Awesome. All right, so now we'll go ahead and move on to the advanced pricing calculator. So just a show of hands again, no, I can't see your hands, but who's used the pricing calculators? Yeah, and someone asked if you can watch this again. All of our webinars are recorded, and usually within 48 hours, we'll try to get those back up. Right now, we were a little bit backed up, but we are getting all those up in the next day or two. So any webinar will be recorded as long as there isn't a problem when we go to edit or record it. All right, so not a lot of people have used the pricing calculators, it looks like. So again, we'll start kind of basic, and then if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. So with this design, if you're using our calculators, you have to use our colors from the design wizard. And again, if you don't have the 4.0, you won't have the advanced pricing calculator. You'll have the pricing calculator, but not the advanced pricing calculator. So I'll go over both to kind of show you the difference and how good the upgrade actually is. So on our right hand side right here, we have our vinyl colors. So this little arrow right here will drop down, and any of our vinyl colors we have in stock or we sell will be on these color palettes. If they're brand new colors, it could take a week or two to actually add them, but for the most part, any color we have, you'll see in this area. So we have a vinyl design here. We have to choose actual Easy Weed, Magic, Glitter, any of those colors, we have to use those colors. So let's do Magic Glitter, we'll do silver, and we'll make this blue. All right, so now we have our glitter. Now, all I have to do is highlight my design. Let me make sure. Yeah, it looks good. All right, so all I have to do is highlight my design and come up to this money sign right here. So when I do that, you'll see on the wizard, left click for pricing, right click for advanced pricing. All right, so if I just left click this, it's going to give me a little bit of information about my design. So it is saying that it's about 7 inches tall, a little over 7 inches wide. We're using 50 cents worth of silver glitter and almost $1 worth of royal blue. So our cost is $1.42. Now, you can edit your pricing margins with, if you come up to this pencil here, you can edit pricing margins on stones or vinyl. So if you need to, sorry, so let me actually show you that. The pencil is for rhinestones. if you right click this arrow, you can change how you purchase your glitter. So this is at a 15 by 15 design or width. So if you're buying at different price margins, you can edit those manually and it will help with your pricing to get it more accurate. So everyone buys it, you know, we sell it bulk, so if you buy a whole roll of vinyl, it's obviously going to be cheaper than if you just buy 10 feet. So you can adjust manually your pricing points to get it accurate just for your cost. All right, so again, left click, it's just going to show us this basic outline of our cost, and it's pretty much just our material costs. It doesn't break down our production costs, anything like that. So with the advanced pricing calculator, it goes a step further. So when I right click this money sign, we have a little more questions we have to input some information before we get all the pricing. So now it gets into our production costs, or shirt costs, and everything that's kind of involved. It's going to bring in those costs. So with this design, did you charge a setup and a design fee? And if so, what was the cost? Well, this one, it was pretty easy, but we still charged her 15 bucks to make it. Okay? And the hourly rate of the employee who made it, if you hit enter, it will go down, or you can double click. Let's just say they made $11 an hour, and it took them, you know, this was actually pretty easy. We already had the band made, they just made the text. It took them 5 minutes to make this design. The retail price for this finished product, once it's on a shirt, is going to be, since it's glitter, let's just say $22.50. Again, these are just prices. This is not actually a price. So don't think this isn't how you need to price your shirts or anything like this. This is just to show how this calculator works. So what discount are you providing the customer? Well, this is for their family reunion. They're getting 50 of these shirts. So we told them we'll give them 30% off. All right. The blank of the product used, we're just using that basic Gildan tee again. And it only costs $2.25 per shirt. All right, so the next, how we're going to production. Same employees for production, so it's still $11 an hour. It took them, let's just say, to cut, weed, and press, took them 10 minutes per shirt. Now we'll do 7 minutes per shirt. And again, they're getting 50, so we're gonna hit 50 in there. Now we hit price. All right, so now it's going to break it down even farther of what this is actually going to entail, whether it be production, time, material. It's going to include all that into our pricing. So we'll start at the top. Again, this is pretty much that basic outline. This is what we're getting right here. Now we actually get all this other information with the advanced pricing calculator. So we charge them $15 for the setup and design. We have 92 cents in design fee expenses because it only took 5 minutes. So it almost took him $1 worth of his time. So we made $14.08 just on that margin right there. Our t-shirt cost per t-shirt is $2.25. So our total material cost with t-shirt and vinyl included is $3.67 per t-shirt. So that's our number right there. Okay. So production cost, we have $11 per hour. It took them 7 minutes to produce. So that's our margins right there. All right, it took him $1.28 pretty much of his time per shirt. So our material and labor costs per shirt is just under $5. Okay, so that's what the numbers we're getting here. Retail price for the product, the finished product, we said it was $22.50. We said since you're getting so many, we'll knock 30% off each shirt. So essentially each shirt is going to cost $15.75. Excuse me. So it takes, to complete this whole process, we said it took 7 minutes to produce, times 50 shirts. So it's going to take 5 hours, almost 6 hours to complete this whole task. That's okay, because now we're going to see our profits from everything. So our total price, they're going to pay $787. Our total cost was $247 with labor. Our design fee margins was 14. So our total business profit per hour was 553, and that's going to be our profit from this project. So this is just going to go a step further, and it really helps too to kind of show you where you need to improve or what areas you can improve. So if your numbers are too high, hey, it shouldn't take you 7 minutes to cut, weed, and press this. We need to get it down to 5. Well, that's going to increase your time. Maybe you can say, hey, that setup and design fee, we need to charge a little bit more. Even though it's basic, they don't know that. We need to charge 25, so it gives us an extra $10. You know, little things like that. This will help you show that from where you can help increase your or decrease your costs and up your profits. So we're not done yet. This is just the start. Now, if you just wanted to see if this project was worth it, hey, 553 for 6 hours worth of work, probably worth it. But that's for your business to decide. But let's just say they go through with this order. All right, so let's fill this out for them. Their order number, customer name. Let's get their order date. Their order date was yesterday, and they need it today. Customer phone number, email, address. You can include all this. And if you don't want to include anything, you don't have to. So if you don't want if they don't want to give you their address or I mean, hopefully they'll give you your phone number, but if they don't want this information out there, you don't have to input this. Product design name, that's just, what do we have back here? Lake Cruiser. Blank size. Again, this might change. You know, it's for a family reunion. The blank size are going to range from kids small to adult 3X. So to put that in size, you don't have to. For the color though, they're all going to be, you know, white. We'll just leave it like that. Sales tax rate. Now, ours here is 6.5%. So trust me, I've done this. Sometimes you'll do this fast and you'll do 0.65. So when I cut the Josh, let me how do you tab it? I'm not sure. Let me send me an email at info@the and I'll either myself or have one of our call centers help you out with that issue. Um, it's hard to tell from not seeing your process of what could have gone wrong. So let me finish this and then we can definitely get that fixed for you. All right. So sales tax rate, we want it to be 6.5. So we have to make sure we hit that 0.065. Otherwise, that is 65%, and their tax is going to be very, very high. And once we get to this screen, if you don't, once we hit the next button where we hit create printable pricing breakdown, if you mess up the sales tax or mess up some kind of information, you have to go through the whole process again and input that information. So where it asks us the production time, pretty much to get all this information over here on the left, you'll have to go back, insert that, and then fill this form out. So definitely want to fill it the first time, you want to do it right. So make sure with that sales tax that it's not 65%, it's 6.5%. All right, so employee that quoted, we'll put Ryan. Quoted completion date, they finished the quote yesterday. And additional notes, call Sean when finished, something like that. It doesn't matter. You know, if he doesn't answer, call Susan at anything, any kind of note, doesn't matter. We'll put it there. So down here, you'll see internal and customer. If you want if a customer wants a printout of this, which I always recommend, just even if they don't want it, print out one for them just for your you'll have an internal record, but just so you can always show the customer their record as well, I would always recommend printing that, but that's just me. So we'll hit customer and then we'll hit create printable pricing breakdown. And if you notice right here it says description, that's going to match up to right here. So once you create that once for the mockup, you can drop this down and pick your company name again. So once we create this logo, you'll see that it has a lot of areas where it has your contact information, your company's name, email, phone. So that same, it's all going to work together. So once you do it once here, you'll be able to see it here as well. All right, so create printable pricing breakdown. I don't have a logo, so you'll see this. Because we're doing an internal and a customer, it's going to tell us twice because we're actually doing two of these printable pricing breakdowns. So we hit OK, and now you'll see internal pricing and customer pricing. So very important that your customer never sees the internal pricing because they're going to get really upset when they find out how low your costs are compared to what they're paying. Okay, so this internal one shows you all the breakdown of what this cost you. So this year your employee was making $11. Well, next year they want the same, they want next year's reunion shirts. Well, your employee's been there for a year, they're making $12.50 now. So you're going to have to adjust your pricing to help with that pricing. So this kind of just shows you, what you charged them last year. Okay, we can bump it up a little bit more to make sure we're still making those same profit margins. So if something changes in the employee rate, well, we might need to set up a design fee a little bit higher, or the price of the shirt's going to go up to maybe $24. Stuff like that. You can help keep your profits the same, even if your employee rates get higher. All right, so you'll still see all the information. It was quoted by Ryan, when it was quoted. Okay, there's our notes. So we'll see those. Up here is our design. So again, everything on here can be changed. So they want it on a white background, or their shirt's going to be gray, so they want to see it on a gray. Whatever is easier to show that, you can change it around. And again, here's all my information. The business name will be yours, but this is who it was for. So the customer name, when they ordered it, when they got it, and then all their information here. So the customer, it's great too to show them theirs because it's almost like a little contract. They'll have, an area where they can sign. They're seeing what they're paying for. And this is the thing too. When you're working with discounts and stuff like that, this shows the retail price for that product. So we know the shirt's worth $22.50. If someone comes in and just wants one shirt, well, they have to pay $22.50 for it. Say they bought that 50, and then a week later or 2 weeks later, we have that one or two stragglers that's decided to come late to the reunion and they want a shirt now. Well, because we're only doing one or two of them, you're not going to be able to get that 30% discount. So you can't pay $15.75. You actually have to pay the $22.50. And this just kind of helps them see that, okay, it makes sense. At that, when we order that much, we get that percentage. If not, we actually have to pay that. And you can tell them that up front, so they're not, next time they come in, it's not a big deal. So this helps kind of point all that out. And then it'll just do their price, their setup fee, and their tax, and then their grand total. So really easy, and again, these are all printable, so once you're done, you just print this out, hand it to them, make a copy for you, and put it in your records. So does anyone have any questions about the advanced pricing calculator? Would anyone like to see any of that process again? Alrighty. All right, so I think that's going to wrap up today's webinar. Thank you guys for attending. Great questions today. Um, we have a few more webinars coming up this week. Let me open that page for us real quick. So in our upcoming trainings, we got a few more this week. We just did the pricing calculator today. Tomorrow, we have the magic patterns in monograms. So this will actually be with me again. This is going to go into a little bit more of, we have the monogram templates already, the packs and stuff already made, but this is going to go into creating your own and being able to change those texts inside for anything. So once you create those templates, you can really use them for any text. You can, where it says AAA, you can make that anyone's initials, and the pattern will always stay the same. It's just those letters inside will change. So really interesting and cool mock-up or webinar. And then on Friday, we're going to do a breakdown of the place and fill tab. This is another free one. So and then on Friday as well, we have a silhouette. So if we have any silhouette users, Lisa's gonna have a webinar on creating Mother's Day designs. So Friday or tomorrow, the magic patterns at 7 o'clock, and then Friday we have the edit tab. So if you guys are new to the wizard or just want to learn a little bit more of the edit tab, we're going to be going over this whole tab and all the features on it. So there's a lot of good features on there. If you're not familiar with them, definitely check that out as well. But thank you guys again. This was Sean with the Rhinestone World. If you have any additional questions, and Josh, definitely text or send an email. So our email is info@therhinestoneworld.com, or you can give us a call at 941-755-1696. And same with you, Portia. If you have any questions, just email us. I'm about to leave for the day, but I will get those tomorrow. And Josh, we got someone here tonight. Casey's here tonight, so I'm going to let him know about your email and see if he can give you a call shortly. So everyone will get taken care of. Don't worry about that. But thank you guys again, and hopefully we'll see you in the webinars the rest of the week. Have a great night.